Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to Common English Mistakes. Don't just learn, improve. So today we're going to continue looking at passives, looking at the more advanced structures. There is one in particular which causes students a bit of problems, but it's usually because they haven't seen it before. So after going over it, you should be able to use this nice advanced structure. So anyway, the mistake is up here. Be woken up early makes me angry. So just pause the video, see if you can correct the sentence. And well done here if you said we're using be as the subject and we need the gerund or verb ing. So being woken up early makes me angry. So when we need a passive verb ing or gerund, we just use being plus the past participle. So being woken up early makes me angry, but maybe also after some verbs like avoid plus verb ing. So I went paintballing and managed to avoid being hit. Similarly, if you need a to infinitive passive after a verb like ask, we just use to be plus past participle. For example, he asked to be picked up from the airport. Now let's move on to modals. As we saw in the last video about modal verbs, modals always need to be followed by an infinitive. So when it's passive, it's just modal be. I think children should be taught cooking at school. However, what often causes problems is when we have to use a modal in the past. So just look at this sentence up here. You shouldn't have crossed that highway. You could been killed, and try to correct it. And well done if you said you shouldn't have crossed that highway. You could have been killed. Again, if we need to use a modal in the past, it's always modal have, past participle. So when it's passive, modal have been, past participle. And again, you might have to use this with the modal should in the past. We should have been told about this earlier, or maybe third conditional. If I had been more careful, I wouldn't have been injured. So now it's going to get a little bit more difficult, but before we look at the grammar, let's just have a fun general knowledge quiz. Just look at these sentences and complete them. Tell me something which is said to cure, get rid of a cold. The thing which is believed to have killed the dinosaurs. A food or a dish which is supposed to be served cold, and a building or structure which is or are thought to have been built thousands of years ago. So maybe you said something like chicken soup is said to cure a cold. A comet is believed to have killed the dinosaurs. And then maybe something like gazpacho soup is supposed to be served cold. And the pyramids are thought to have been built thousands of years ago. So here we can use the passive with these verbs of knowledge, comment, opinion, etc. Also meant to or supposed to, and also maybe something like expected or scheduled. Usually this is in the present, blah, 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 is expected to, but it could also be in the past as well, was, were. So we say blah, blah, blah is are, expected, believed, supposed to, and then what we do afterwards is where it gets a little bit confusing. If it's just a normal verb, to infinitive. If it's in the past, we move it back again with have, past participle, like the one about the dinosaurs. If the bit at the end is passive, we need to say be, past participle. So gazpacho is supposed to be served cold. Someone does the action to the soup. And if it's Past and passive, to have been. The pyramids are thought to have been built thousands of years ago. It's a difficult structure, but not impossible to use. I would say this is probably one which is more useful in writing because it sounds quite fancy, quite advanced. So that being said, just pause the video and have a go at correcting these two sentences. The dish paella is not meant to stir, and the explosion is thought to be caused by a gas leak. And well done if you said, at the end, the action is done to the paella, so it needs to be passive. Paella is not meant to be stirred. For the next one, it's passive, which is correct, but this happened before. So the explosion is thought to have been caused by a gas leak. So if you got both of those correct, well done. You have mastered and understood some very, very advanced English. As ever, guys, if you're finding the video useful, you're learning something, do make sure to hit that subscribe button. New videos coming out every couple of days or so. When you're ready, let's practice and improve. Just pause the video and have a go at these FCE style transformations. Use the word in capital letters and 2 to 5 words to make another sentence with exactly the same meaning as the original one. And well done for the first one. If you said, I should have been called by the bank yesterday. Modal have, been, past participle. The next one, the rocket is scheduled to be launched tomorrow. To be, past participle, because that's passive at the end. And then dislike, plus verb ing, but it's passive. I dislike being spoken to like that. And finally, we need this complex structure, but it needs to be past and passive. So 100 people are reported to have been injured in the accident. So again, well done. If you got most or all of those correct, you're using a very advanced structure at a high level. Finally, today's question, who is said to have been a great person in your country's history? So write your answers in the comments, guys. Again, good opportunity to use and practice a very advanced structure. So that's basically it for today. As ever, I really feel the key to passives is knowing those forms of to be automatically. If you do that, you're going to feel much more comfortable using these structures and they're going to happen much more naturally. Other than that, I'll see you for another video in the next couple of days. So until then, see ya.